lab activity number 2, writing a program using a S-Pulse S5 timer. I've already got my software open and running and connected to my PLC. So I'm starting with network number 1. And we want to use a Pulse S5 timer. So if we come over here to our catalog and go down to timers, we're going to use the first one, the S-Pulse. I highlight my network by clicking on it. Then I can simply double click and my S-Pulse timer will appear. Following my instructions in module 7, I will add a normally open contact to the S input. I will add a normally open contact to the R input. I will place a coil on the Q output. Now question marks. For input S, I'm going to type I. My symbol table will appear. This is the symbol table I created for the last activity, lab activity number 1. This is input 1. This will be input 2. The timer, I'm going to name it just simply T1 for my first timer. Oh, made a mistake. T1. Now right here for the time value, this is how many seconds I want to set my timer to count down. There's a format we have to follow. The format is going to be S5T pound. What comes next is how many seconds I want my timer to count down. In this case, I'm going to use 5 for 5 seconds and then put S for seconds. So you have to use this format, S5T pound 5S. Then I'll hit enter. And then here on these 2 outputs, we have to put, we have to have something here, and what I'll use is memory word 0. And memory word 2. And for my output coil, this is going to be a memory bit, or the memory bit. And now we want to add network number 2. If I come up here to new network, here I'm going to put a normally open contact, and this will be my memory bit. In other words, the timer will activate memory bit 0.0. This in return will activate or close this contact. Then I'm going to place a coil on the output, and this will be output 1. Oh, I'm sorry, messed up. Q 0.0, output 1. I will now download the program to my PLC. And I will click the monitor on off, click the glasses, and I am going to notice this rung is highlighted green, this one is not. However, if I click on network 1, it will now highlight everything below network 1, both networks. The program is activated. Now, if you'll notice, I'm going to push my red push button, which is input 1. When I do, notice the timer starts counting down. The memory bit is highlighted, is on, which activates the memory bit here, which turns my output 1 on. When I push the red button, the timer starts counting and the output remains on as long as I hold the button. However, if the timer times out, the output turns off. If I release the button or deactivate input 1, the timer also turns off. Also notice when I release the button, or input 1, the timer stops counting, the output turns off, but notice the time. I'm still at 3 seconds. However, if I push the reset button, which is the yellow push button, watch the time. It goes to 0. If I start the timer again, watch the time. It starts back counting at 5 seconds. If I release the push button and push the push button again to restart the timer, notice that the time restarts at the full 5 seconds.